Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Fanzine reviews. Today's new episode, of course, it is the first Fanzine review episode of 2023 because I hadn't done one since last year. So, what do I have in store for you guys? Well, since this was sent to me about a week ago, maybe several days ago, maybe a few days ago, whatever. I think it was on the weekend day, maybe Saturday. And this was sent to me from Paul of Doomsday Records. And again, that's why I'm wearing this shirt here. It is issue 3 of one of his other fanzines. It is Muerte Zine Issue 3. Which he had been working on since was it last year or something? And because of personal things within his life, was just constant. He didn't get it finished until basically early this year. So, or just sometime early this year, maybe. And so, here it is in my hand. It is, again, issue 3 of Muerte Zine. Or Zine. How the best way to pronounce it, which again, La Muerte means the death in English. So, what can you find in issue 3 of La Muerte Zine, issue 3? Well, I'm not going to show you a lot of pages, but because I'm not going to show you the first page here anyways. These first two, again, these are very personal. You'll be able to at least see these pages if you actually are interested in buying a copy of La Muerte Zine Issue 3. But I'll go on to the next one again. Start off, there's a lot of interviews here, actually, like most of these fans that he's done, like, was it like Death by Metal was another one, where again, there's plenty of interviews with some great bands here and so on. But there were some great ones. I'm also going to confess, though, that I know that you're supposed to read, especially, I mean, this was always a very good request, too, is to try and read as much as you can, of the fanzine. And don't get me wrong, I did read, but I read the ones that, at least the interviews, that really meant the most to me before, getting in front of a camera. And also, again, I got it at a little too soon, I guess, in a way, because of I didn't really have a whole lot of time to actually read a lot of this, pretty much most of this fanzine. So I just went to the interviews that really meant the most to me, okay? I'm just kind of putting that as a disclaimer for most of those, especially to Paul of Doomsday Records and so on. And again, this is his fanzine, and that's all I'm trying to be as honest as I can. So, I only read the interviews that meant the most to me, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on again. Even though the first interview here he did with, what is the band member here? I guess it's a two-man band, whatever. I think, what are they, like black metal or something like that? But they've had some stuff on Doomsday Records, but it is Woven Plague. Right there, that's the first one. It's a very short interview to begin with, so there is that. But the meat of the matter for me with this one was that he's done a very cool interview with Mike Browning of Nocturnus, and these days Nocturnus AD fame, and of course was also a former member of Morbid Angel and so on. Again, the only recorded performance of him with Morbid Angel is that Abominations of Desolation disc. That came out, what is it, just a year after Altars of Madness. Great, cool release to begin with. But he, of course, asked him the question on when there's going to be a brand new, a second Nocturnus AD album. And the thing is, by the time when he was conducting this interview, Mike Browning had been writing plenty of songs. I think that they were going to at least have a total of 9 songs for what would become the brand new album, which I guess since we are into May already of 2023, who knows if it's been finished or it's still just maybe getting some touches up if it's been recorded. So again, nothing is really concrete completely, but again, that's one of the main things that I took away from the interview with Mike Browning, is that they are working on a follow-up album to what what was the I forgot the name of the previous album. I know he mentions in it here. It was Paradox. It was Paradox. So that was from, I think, 2019, what I remember going on the Metal Archives. But yeah, it's a very cool interview, and that was the first of the main ones that caught my eye that I wanted to read, and the next one was actually an interview with Richard Lynch of the Christian heavy metal band Saint. One of my favorites, actually, of that sort of genre, whatever. And again, when people probably go, who is better, Saint or Striper or whatever, I always definitely would pick still Saint, at least of that 80s sort of traditional Christian metal, even though Richard Lynch always preferred or referred to Saint as apocalyptic metal. Great stuff. Again, Time's End, Too Late for Living, all classic albums to begin with. And he does a fine job interviewing him, some great questions, and also Richard Lynch even mentioning Scott Waters. Yeah, so and that's one thing I could. Whenever I also saw this interview, I was like, I couldn't help but also think of Rox Records and Scott Waters. So there it is. If you want to see what it looks like, there's the interview page for the interview with Richard Lynch of Saint. And of course, he goes into what was the issues or what was the whole situation surrounding original singer. Forgetting his name. Was it Kramer something? Let me see. I forgot his name. I think Josh Kramer was the. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. I got it correct. So Josh Kramer, the original singer of Saint, and why he was out of the band and out of the band, and so on, especially during the reunion era, of Saint when they got back together in the 2000s. So that was very cool. And he also does one for Chinamunda, which I have not really checked out yet, but again, I'll get into my final thoughts and final reasons and everything at the end of when I'm done, going through all of this. But again, there's some great sort of interviews here. And my third one that really interested me was that he did one for the band Solstice, which is Dennis Munoz. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but the band Solstice, the death thrash metal band. Great stuff there to begin with. I think the first album's artwork was done by Ed Repka, but he does an interview with him talking about the previous couple of albums that they've released since, being back together and so on. And that's a really cool interview that he put together. There's a lot of some great interviews in here. Of course, the reviews here. And a lot of cool ads, though, that are also found in here. Just real cool stuff to be found. A lot of reviews, but again, some of them, even though it's not really mandatory for me to actually read a lot of the reviews, but it really depends on which one piques my interest, Because for me, personally, sometimes I will actually go into reading a review if it's for a release and I'm always been kind of interested in. But if it's not something I'm not very new to, there might be something I might take away from a review that actually might pique my interest and want to check it out. But sometimes the best way to really check out a brand new release is just by looking at the album cover, and that's about it. So I'm just kind of moving on forward. Just great stuff here, just to kind of give you some more look at the pages right there. I'm trying to keep this little review under at least 10 minutes here. Best. And there's some cool little ad there. Especially showing stuff for the French metal band Sortilege. Just real cool stuff, but by the way, I think I actually passed over, a couple of other ones. I don't know. Let me see real quick. Did I pass over that little page? I think I might have. This one to show you a little ad. Always mandatory to have the NastyMetalProductions ad in these fanzines. Always mandatory. Going through here before I completely get any more forward. And what else? Whatever. Yeah, there's some real cool stuff to be found in here. A lot of cool stuff. I know he also does a review for some smug-faced kids band named Winghead. He does a review for their self-titled album. Yes, it's an album. Also, yes, I'm very flattered by the review that you had put together at again, it was real honest, and I'm real thankful that you went on your way to actually review that one to begin with. And yes, I clarified it as an album. It's not really a demo, but at the same time, technically, the way the story that came with that Winghead album is that I had released it under the Smith name, but then I just, because of, at the time, I released the Winghead album was because of, I was hoping to have finished an actual first album to be released under the Winghead name, because I wanted to kind of move past that Ex Morta name. I wanted to go past that and do something different in a way that still kind of stayed in the fine lines of that sort of traditional heavy metal sound, but I wanted to kind of do something that at least said that this is going to be a new era for me and my whole writing and recording and everything, and I wanted something to be released under the Winghead name, but it was just a very, very weird time to begin with. And so I decided, since I was never satisfied with the original first mix of that, what became the first Winghead album. I was never quite satisfied with it because of what I recorded and released it back in 2017. And my influences at that time was a lot more different, more inspired by the 70s sort of hard rock sound, but definitely had that classic early 80s sort of metal influence. And I wanted to I just was never quite satisfied with the first mix, so I kind of remixed it and did some changes. So that's kind of why I felt, all right, I'm just going to release this mix, but under the Winghead name. So that basically became the debut Winghead album. But what I was working on again, that is going to be now probably the second Winghead album. Right now, nothing's really set in stone, so I don't really kind of get into too much details, but at some point there will be a follow-up album, and who knows when that will be released, but I've been hoping that at least comes out sometime this year. So there it is. Besides that, I know I went a little tangent there, and I wanted to keep this under at least 10 minutes, but it went a little extended. Oh yeah, and the main other interview that he did in here that really had to pique my interest, and I really was mandatory to want to read, was the one with Paul of Soul Grinder Zine. And as you can see, there's the page. A real cool, short sort of interview that he did with him, and that was one of the main ones. I know he did one with Static and Masses, who I want to at times read, but you know what? This is where I'm going to end things, because of, again, there's a lot of cool stuff. We'll stick it there for whatever could be. I think it's a label, whatever. Avant Gore Productions, so it's probably a label, and I don't have anything from that label. And there is also an ad in the fanzine itself, and back of it, whatever, it's like final thoughts. But there it is. I just want to do a very short little run through of this fanzine. Again, if you want to at least read this, because for me, even though I didn't really get a whole lot of time to actually finish this, this is why I saved these thoughts at the end here, is because this is going to be a great sort of fanzine to have around, or something to have, because of whenever I go to any appointments, whatever, I'm probably going to be bored waiting, so I gotta have to at least have something to bring with me so I can entertain myself instead of just looking at my phone. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'll find a way to sneak this in into like a little doctor's room or something, and just read this while during my spare bored time. So that's why I haven't really finished this, because of this is going to become great reading, and I'm always into reading something that I haven't yet read. So that's why I'm putting off reading most of some of these other interviews that I'll either find time to read, or just I'm never going to find time to read, but I will make time whenever it comes to any of those situations. So that's why. So it's always going to be a great read for whenever I am really bored, sitting in some doctor's appointment room or whatever, or I'm waiting on someone, and there. It's just to kill the time. And I hope that this was enough to kill your time as well. And if you want to find time to kill time, go and at least support Paul of Doomsday Records, and of course, Muerte Zine Issue 3. If you want to buy yourself a copy, I'll do my best to leave as much information in the description link, or the description box, I meant, and you can at least can buy it from him. It's got to be through the mail, and he'll probably, through maybe email and everything, and he'll probably give you the link to the PayPal and everything. And again, just support. If you want to read those interviews, you want to read anything else that's inside that fanzine and see what was the reason why he put it off, go and buy yourself a copy. So with that, thank you to Paul of Doomsday Records for just sending this out to me. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Terry Thrasher saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.